Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we are back on the path to the Cleveland. We've already done Tier 5, which means we are on the Tier 6 Helena. So let's look at our commander. As always, if you want to look at other builds, it's in the first episode of the series usually. I don't know that I showed any extra builds for this because, I'll be honest, I only used the one build. It's amazing. Norman Scott with Isoroku Yamamoto and Philip Vian as your inspirations. I run Beyond Range, Igniter, Punch Through, Fixated, and EOP, Equilibrium of Power, as our legendary perk. Alright, so with that, let's look at our equipment. We are running Aiming Systems Mod 1, Steering Gears Mod 2, and Concealment System Mod. We are fully upgraded, as you can see. We have, obviously, the sonar available rather than the AA. We have community contributor flag and the permanent camo that comes through the Bureau project for the California, I believe. But it's out of the Bureau now, so you probably, if you didn't start it, you don't have an option to get it. I am running the booster for range and movement speed and reload time of consumables, so keep that in mind. Survivability, 33,300 hit points with a 4% torpedo damage reduction. Artillery, you have 15 152mm 6-inch guns. You have 16.1 kilometer firing range with this build and a 9.5 second reload time. 180 degree turn time is 20 seconds. HE shell maximum damage, 2,000 with a 7.5% chance to set fires. And remember, that would be 15 if you took Equilibrium of Power off and went with something like Fully Packed. I prefer Equilibrium of Power so that I'm not shattering so many shells, I'm actually getting damage. AP shell maximum damage of 3,740 damage, 3,740 damage. Secondaries, you have 127mm 38s, so the 5-inch 38 that everybody knows and loves from the Americans pretty much everywhere in the American Navy. The Mark 29 Mod Zeros, you have 4.7 kilometer firing range with them with a 6-second reload time. They fire HE with a maximum damage of 1,800 and a 4% chance to set fires. AA defense, you have 20mm Oerlikon Mark 4s. You have 10 of those doing 36 damage per second, reaching out to 2 kilometers. Then you have the 20mm Mark 20s that you have 8 of that do 24 damage per second and reach out to 2 kilometers. Then you have the 40mm Bofors Mark 1. You have 8 of those doing 45 damage per second and reaching out to 3.5 kilometers. And you have the 40mm Bofors Mark 2 that you have 16 of that reach out to 3.5 kilometers and do 64 damage per second. So a pretty respectable AA cruiser. Not amazing, but pretty respectable. Maneuverability, 33.5 knots, so decent. It's actually on the faster side for American cruisers. Turning circle radius of 680 meters with a rudder shift time of just 7.3 seconds. You could get this lower if you wanted to build for it, but I don't. Concealment, 10.4 kilometers is very good. I really enjoy that 10.4. It allows you to sneak around and relocate without being obliterated. Which comes in handy because these things, if they get shot at by battleships, tend to get obliterated. But you can be very, very aggressive in these and catch people out. And if you get close and get a broadside opportunity, even on battleships, you can do a serious amount of damage very quickly with the AP on these things. It's very nasty. So keep that in mind. Detectability by air is 6.5. Guaranteed is always 2. And 5.8 kilometer smoke firing penalty. Let's look at the armor. Doesn't have a whole lot of armor, but you come to expect that. 16mm in the front can be overmatched by anything above, oh god, let me do the math real quick. Pull out the calculator. Calculator! 14 point, oops. Back. 0.3 times 16. 228.8 millimeters. So anything 228.8 and above can overmatch your bow. And pretty much everywhere else on your ship. So keep that in mind. There is a small amount of protection right at the citadel, but it's also a raised citadel, barely, but it is raised. If you get caught, you're going to likely go back to port very quickly. You gotta be careful in these things. They're big, long ships. They're not the shiftiest in the world, so you've got to plan ahead and avoid shells before the guy starts firing. If you wait till the shells are in the air, you're going to get caught. So, with that in mind, let's look at the overview. Surgical shells. Short fuse time results in a lower chance of overpenetration. Against cruisers, this thing is deadly. Like, deadly. It has nasty HE with the EOP, and if you give this thing a broadside, you will be going back to port very quickly. It has 15 guns waiting to obliterate you. It can get 9 guns over the, well, not really over the bow, but off to the side of the bow, angled enough that you're not pinning it, and it's going to smash you. Just keep that in mind. Guns aplenty, already talked about it. 15 main battery guns means if you get a chance, you can put out a lot of damage very quickly. Sluggish shot. Difficult to aim at distances, but again, if you're used to the American destroyers or the American light cruisers, by now you've already figured it out. It sucks to try to aim these at distance, but once you get it down, it's not so bad. Helena, a light cruiser close to the Brooklyn-class ships, but with a different architecture and full-fledged dual-purpose artillery, one of the few ships of her type in the world that carried 15 152mm guns as her main battery. She entered service in 1939. There were 2 of them in the series. Wait a second. Let's look at our AA again. Did it mention the 152s? No, it did not. I'm calling this wargaming. Fix this now. In your own description, it says that you have dual-purpose artillery. Okay? Where is my 152mm guns in the AA? I want it now. Make it happen. Alright. Sorry. Had to get that over with. Anyway, one of the few ships of her type in the world that carried 15 152mm guns as her main battery. She entered service in 1939, and there were 2 of them in the series. If you can name the sister ship to the Helena, I will pin the first person who answers correctly. So, let's take a look at this beautiful ship and that beautiful camo. I love the Stars and Stripes camo. This permanent camo is so sexy, and on this ship, it is still very sexy. Really enjoy these ships. They're very, very good at pretty much everything. They can do the damage, they can do the sit behind an island and nuke people for as much as they want, and they can come out and swing when necessary. So, with that being said, let's get to the gameplay. Alrighty, folks, we're going to be on Land of Fire, and we are in the Helena. And I'm not going to lie, I got a little salty. Now, I haven't been actually using my mic in a while well, other than on Wednesdays, just because I don't want to have the TV blaring in the background for you guys. I don't want it to end up on stream. But, other than on Wednesdays when I do the Salt Ration streams, I have tried to make sure that I don't have my headset on. I am in a party so that I don't have any chance of me saying anything over party or over game chat. So if you try to talk to me and you don't get a response in a game, that's why. I don't have my headset on. So anyway, we are going to be in prime real estate for this ship. And we are going to have the enemies that you can only dream of. And then we're going to have a teammate absolutely, and strong language alert, cockblock us for the entire goddamn match. I'm not joking. This could have been an epic game. But this freaking destroyer over here is bound and determined to just piss me off. You'll see why in a minute. Now, I know I like to complain about teammates being useless, and this is going to be the opposite of that. This is going to be a teammate who does everything in his power to just completely screw me out of getting any damage. Not joking. So initially, he goes out, he spots these guys, right? And I'm like, oh, cool. We're going to get some spotting. I get to sit behind an island. I get to use a freaking light cruiser for what it's meant for, right? Everybody knows that all a light cruiser can do is sit behind an island and spam HE and just nuke everybody from space. And initially, I thought that's what was going to happen. And then he just like, no, I'm going to go behind the island. I'm going to flank these guys, which is the right move to make for him. And then obviously this Fubuki has the worst concealment known to mankind because he is spotted by our destroyer, not firing his guns or anything. He's just spotted by the destroyer. And so we know he's on his way. So I'm ready for him. I put up a plane to help potentially see. And then also our battleship is kind of pushing up towards that guy. And with as bad a concealment as that guy has, he's going to get detected initially, or eventually. I do nose forward a little bit, knowing that the destroyer would spot him again. I'm like, oh, good. We're going to be able to start absolutely roasting these guys. It'll be great. But no, these guys are literally going to do everything in their power to just sail in a straight line for as long as possible, make that freaking Akatsuki's job as easy as possible. And then the Fubuki comes out and he's like, anything he can do, I can do times 10. He comes out, goes full broadside angled to me, absolutely begged for it, and we smash him with the first salvo, and obviously we're going to smash him again here as he smokes up, and then he gets finished off by the guy behind me. Our Bovoy being able to spot him and then get him removed very quickly. Then we shoot back at the New Mexico. We realize he just took some torpedoes and he's about to take some more. So we're just like, okay, well, we'll switch targets to the other New Mexico, and we're going to make sure that we're a little more aggressive and able to do something here. But no, watch this. Because the Akatsuki is so balanced and has triple launchers, it gets to reload its torpedoes ridiculously fast, and it's going to nuke this guy too. So he gets both of these battleships and absolutely just wastes my time on this side of the map. I thought I was going to have some amazing game, and we haven't had a bad game. It's not like we're having a bad game. 33,000 damage done on the destroyer and these battleships. But again, Akatsuki comes in and just wrecks the day. Here he comes to wreck the day. You know, that sort of guy? Yeah. Anyway, we just mopped the floor with this side of the map. And I'm like, okay, well, good news is the other side completely folded, so there's still a chance that I can get some damage in this as long as I put myself in a good position. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put myself in position to intercept the Gneisno. We're going to try to do our best to get rid of him. He's pushing, which is not unusual for Gneisnos, but we are in an American light cruiser, and light cruisers absolutely destroy German battleships. Just say it. Light cruisers are the German battleship's kryptonite. Can you get rid of light cruisers? Absolutely. But more often than not, your dispersion's not going to be good enough to hit the light cruiser, and the light cruiser is going to roast you before you ever get a chance to do anything. And that's why German battleships just are not fun to me. They're just not fun. They're gigantic damage sponges. That's all they are. Now, we've got a Tallinn over here camping the base. Big surprise. He's got an island to shoot over. He's got somebody spotting for him. So he's doing what a cruiser should do, I guess. And so we get some beautiful shots at this Gneisno, and he is going to not like the fact that we're shooting him. Big surprise, right? Tallinn just finished off a Colorado. The Gneisno is going to turn in, and we're going to showcase just why it's so difficult to hit shots with these things at range, because this guy doesn't do a lot of changing. But just speeding up and turning in, he has avoided like 2 salvos from me, which is like 18 seconds of damage. So we get another shot here, and this guy is going to get the RNG of nightmares. I get the RNG of the gods, and we actually get a double fire after he had just taken a torpedo and caused flooding. So he damaged the flooding and gets double fired. That is just... You hate to see it. You really do. I feel for the guy. I really actually feel bad for the guy because I've been there. There's nothing he can do. He ate a single torpedo. He took a flood. He had to damage con and immediately gets hit for 2 floods, or 2 fires. And then, of course, I'm just going to continue to pound him every 9 seconds with more HE, that is EOP HE, and doing damage every time it hits rather than just shattering. Then we start looking at the Tallinn, knowing that the Gneisno was going to go down. We start looking at the Tallinn. We recognize that he is slowing down, so we switch to armor piercing to test our luck. I don't know anything about the Tallinn, really, so I know that I've got a broadside shot at him. This should be juicy. But it actually isn't that great. We only get 3 hits, unfortunately. A lot of them falling just a little short. He is angled slightly, but I should still be able to pin at this angle. Remember, American armor piercing gets those improved penetration angles. We got a nice 1, 2, 3, 4 as a roll there. Gotta love that RNG. But as he gets more angle, we're going to switch over to that beautiful EOP HE that we talk about, and watch the salvos that we're going to get on this guy now. Like, as soon as he angles enough that our AP has no real shot at doing much, we're going to get a fire immediately, which is why I say EOP isn't that bad, because you still get just as many fires, I swear to God. People think I'm crazy, but I get just as many fires with EOP on as I get with them off. I don't care what anybody says about it being reduced by half. I still prefer this. Now, I start looking ahead. the freaking Akatsuki, once again, yoinks my god darn kill on the tall end and manages to steal that. So, again, right there cock blocking me. Again, sorry for the language, but there's not other ways to say it. Like, it is what it is. Helena decides to come out, and I am drooling at this. I'm like, go ahead, dummy. Go ahead, give me, look at this angle. What are you going to accomplish other than trying to get torps on the battleship? We get one Citadel, we destroy his torp tubes with that salvo of AP. He's still angled enough, and watch this second salvo. That's more like it. Another Citadel with 6 penetrations. He's lucky he's only getting 1 Citadel per salvo here. But it doesn't matter. He's going down in this salvo for sure. Getting 2 Citadels to finish him off. We're dark now because he's not spotting us, and this Synop is in a perfect place. But look at the base. Who other than the freaking destroyer that has absolutely wrecked our chance of having a great game the entire game is capturing the base? Of course he is. Any other time, the destroyer would have been as useless as possible, but because I have a potential to have a great game, the destroyer has to do everything right and absolutely wreck my chances of having a great game. It's not like we had a bad game. We did everything in our power. We've done quite a bit. I mean, we've done well. But I know I could kill this freaking Synop. And so I'm getting in position, and I try to tell the guy to get back. I'm like, please get out of the base, dude. I just need a little more damage to make this look even better for my YouTube video. Because I knew this was the video that I was going to use, or the game that I was going to use, as soon as I was in the middle of this. And, of course, he doesn't get out of the base, which he shouldn't. In all seriousness, he shouldn't. It's a guaranteed win. It's not a bad idea, and he's going to get some extra XP for it. But at the same time, I'm over here like, please, come on, man, I just want more. And look at that, 4,000 damage of HE into the superstructure of that Synop. You gotta love it. But he captures the base. The game's over. No more damage for me. 89,000 damage, top of the leaderboard. Even with all the cock blocking he did, I still out XP'd him. So if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.